Hello, Canucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation, brought to you by Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. My name is David Quadrilli. I am joined by Irfaan Gaffar, and we are here to talk about a Canucks win, a Canucks loss, but really a big win for the fan base, as we're seeing in the YouTube chat. People are so happy about Kiefer Sherwood. People are so happy about Elias Pettersson. Irf, when's the last time we said that? The second part, not that people are happy about Sherwood. We've said that a lot. But Pettersson, Elias Pettersson, people are happy.
We got to go back a while to see even when people are happy, right? Just especially when getting to watch this team. But look, it's great. I mean, it's what this fan base wants. It's what the team wants. I'm sure it's what Elias Pettersson wants. And you can't knock them. I mean, we do this show obviously rink-wide after every game, and there's a lot of nights where, you know, the facts in front of us were the game itself, and he wasn't good. But this weekend, if he is starting to find his game, and it looks like he is a lot more confident, making distinctive plays offensively and defensively, the fans should be excited.
2 goals, 4 assists on the weekend for Elias Pettersson. 6-point weekend. That, from a personal standpoint, that's phenomenal. And also it comes with the context of matched up against Nick Suzuki on Saturday night, matched up against Connor McDavid on Sunday night. And that's the thing I really enjoyed reading at CanucksArmy.com is the statsies where we break down those matchups. And Pettersson hasn't necessarily excelled in those matchups, but held McDavid without a goal at 5-on-5, held that line without a goal at 5-on-5, and they've been playing great. That line for the Canucks has been playing great. We're going to continue the conversation throughout the whole lineup. There's a lot to get to. Lukas Reichel made his Canucks debut since we last did our show, so we've got to talk about that as well. So let's get into it. Our opening segment today is brought to you by our friends over at Greta, a great spot for all games, home and away. You can skip the line and not have to pay cover on game nights if you're wearing the home team's gear. And of course, there's also the game day specials at Greta, including $3.33 off select food items, $3.33 on select drinks, and more. Arcade, bar, street food, tons of good stuff at Greta. Make it your spot to watch the next game. 50 West Cordova Street is the address. I think I might have had the math wrong on Pettersson. I got to pull this up. Pettersson's weekend as a whole. Yeah, let's pull it up. All right. I want to start with Elias Pettersson. People are very, very excited about what he's been able to do. Hold on. I got to make sure I pulled this up correctly. I did not pull it up. Sorry. It was 4 points, not 6 for Elias Pettersson. Someone in the chat threw me off. Anyways, 4 points for Elias Pettersson. Of course, he gets a goal, 2 assists against Montreal, and a timely goal last night against Edmonton.
Yep. I mean, that's what you want, right? You want him. I think the biggest thing also, too, is we're going to get to our stat of the day a little bit later, and it's definitely something on Elias Pettersson, but it's just the engagement and kind of looking dangerous and being the guy that they need him to be. And I think that that's probably the biggest thing. And you know that that's there. I mean, he's a 102-point player. We all know all of that, but it's 2 games in his sample size, but there are some signs of, you know, him being able to lead this team into the fight. And, you know, when he plays better, everyone else plays better. I know they lost against the Montreal Canadiens, but at least Pettersson was good in that game. You know, and you look at a game against the Edmonton Oilers, one of those measuring stick games that we like to call it, and he was good in it too.
He was. And he's going to be your subject of stat of the day. I want to get to the second line. I've been dying to talk about this second line since the weekend started because Lukas Reichel, again, played some wing in Chicago, was not someone that we like. The number one question with Lukas Reichel was, oh, is he going to play center? Yeah, he is. Okay, well, how's that going to go? And the early returns are pretty good. Now, is Lukas Reichel bringing out the best of Brock Besser and Evander Kane, or have Evander Kane and Brock Besser started to turn it on and Lukas Reichel is benefiting from that? I think it's a bit of both. I really like what I've seen from Reichel transporting the puck through the neutral zone, and for all the comments about his defensive play and his play away from the puck being a problem, I was fine with that too. Made some nice plays along the boards to keep plays alive, regain possession after the Canucks had lost it. I really liked the weekend for Lukas Reichel.
Yeah, the guy's running on fumes, right? Yeah, couple hours of sleep at the airport, shows up just before puck drop, gets into an early game, right in the mix. Never really met any of these guys before. Now they're thrown into the mix to have to play in a game against a Montreal Canadiens team who has been playing some really good hockey. And you're right, he did make some really good defensive plays, and it's going to take some time. But I think you noticed him. Obviously, there were some mistakes. There are things that he's going to find in his game, but there's so much upside with this, and it was such a low-risk move for the Vancouver Canucks that, you know, have to applaud it in a sense where they got a guy that's young, he can play center, can play on the wing if he wants, and be able to go and, maybe put up some numbers once he starts to get really comfortable. But you're right, Evander Kane now starting to find his game a little bit as well. And then you mentioned Brock Besser being able to, get in and obviously scoring, but also find some chemistry on that line. If that line can click, then I think you have the line with DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Connor Garland. And if you just can get a second line, then things will start to go a lot more smoothly for the Canucks.
We're going to talk about acquiring a center today. It's going to be a topic of conversation. Pavel Zacha being connected to the Canucks. Nazem Kadri, we saw a report today that Kadri's no trade list does not feature the Vancouver Canucks. So we're going to talk about trading for a center. But one thing that you just kind of mentioned there is it was such a low risk, high upside bet for the Canucks. And as they continue to look for center help, that's going to be kind of the lens that we view every move through, right? Is when we say, should they trade for this player? It's not, is this player going to help them? It's like, yeah, it's going to help them, but what are you going to have to give up? How much is it going to change your long-term outlook? Like, what's the long-term risk? Don't tell me just about the short-term risk. Tell me about the long-term risk for this team. Both ways. You can have both ways. I'm curious how people feel about each of these players that we're going to throw out today and the players that continue to come up. But that's basically the lens that you look through everything through, is just what's the risk for the Canucks? What's the potential upside? And again, I know it's only been 2 games, but I'm liking the early returns on Lucas Reichel for sure. Kiefer Sherwood, want to talk about him as well. What a night. We called it the Stanchies, the Kiefer Sherwood game. That's all we're calling it. That was just a phenomenal performance for Kiefer Sherwood. Doing it all. Should have had a hat trick. Tyler Myers, how long are his legs? Measure these socks behind me. We'll figure out how long Tyler Myers' legs are. My goodness, if he just drags his skate, Kiefer Sherwood's got himself a hat trick in that game.
If Tyler Myers could drag his skate, one foot would be at the faceoff dot and the other one would still be at the blue line. Like, you know what I mean? That's just how tall he is. But you're right. I mean, not even just what a weekend it has been and what a night, like what a start to the season for this guy. And look, it's contract season, and it's just a very good indication that this guy is going to get paid, and he is playing like it. He's playing like a top 6 winger right now in the NHL. And the Canucks have him slotted in near the 3rd and 4th lines, right, on most nights. And obviously having the luxury of a guy that is playing so well, you can move him up and down in the lineup. But up till maybe the weekend, Kiefer Sherwood was the Vancouver Canucks best forward, right? And I think you can make a case for Connor Garland playing really well, but it is Kiefer Sherwood. And then now, obviously, Elias Pettersson has kind of joined and jumped in on the conversation there too. But it's been great. It's been fun to watch. Love what he said about, the crowd chanting his name at Rogers Arena. He's like, that's why you play the game. Love moments like this and things like that. So it's great. I know everyone's saying extend Kiefer Sherwood. Pump the brakes on that a little bit, because the price of Kiefer Sherwood is going to be, I don't think it's going to be extreme, but it's going to be pretty high, and rightfully so. He's a guy that last year in the National Hockey League, Quag, did something that absolutely no one else did. Yeah. And no one else has done it in the NHL, in the history of the NHL. Like that is insane. So for him, I think it's about, keep working every single day. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to get complacent, or seem like a guy that's going to be, happy with what he's done over 5 games. I think he's a guy that is going to continue to do what he does. And if he keeps putting the puck in the net, man, the guy did 19 goals last season? Yeah. Like he gets 20, 21, 22 goals this year. That price is going to be very high for Kiefer Sherwood. Like, it's going to be double the salary to start. So it's $3 million.
To start. Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be more than that.
4 times 4. 4 times 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's probably it.
And that number could go up. And
yeah.
This is the conversation that we've been having. This is the one that we'll continue to have. And in the past, I've been someone that has come out and basically said, you found Dakota Joshua, then you found the next Dakota Joshua. After saying we're going to go find the next Dakota Joshua, you go find that in Kiefer Sherwood. But you also extended Dakota Joshua and then had to trade that contract because you didn't like it. So you would think that the lesson with Dakota Joshua for this management regime would be, don't extend Kiefer Sherwood. So that's the angle I've kind of taken is, well, go find the next Kiefer Sherwood. Like you found the next Dakota Joshua, go find the next Kiefer Sherwood. Clearly they can do it. But man, oh man, the more I see Kiefer Sherwood and the more he does stuff like this, the more I say, maybe he's just worth that. Maybe he's just worth that big money that you're going to have to pay him. And again, you talk about this is what you play for. you hope he really likes Vancouver and is willing to not take a discount, but like the Garland number, where it's like, yeah, that's a really palpable number for the team. Even Brock Besser's contract, how you say, okay, like that's fine for the Canucks with the cap going up. Can you find Kiefer Sherwood at a similar number where you say, yeah, that's a fine contract for the Canucks to sign? Because I think when Dakota Joshua signed, it was around that range, but it was also like, oh, okay, that's a little bit steep for what Dakota Joshua is. And I think you're trying to avoid a similar situation with Kiefer Sherwood, but the more he does this, the harder it's going to be.
Well, I think also the thing to remember with, the Kiefer Sherwood negotiation and contract and the Canucks wanting to extend him and him obviously wanting to be here, it's that no matter what, in the back of your mind, someone's probably going to give you more money than your current organization.
Yep.
Like if you get to unrestricted free agency and you're a guy that has a career year and has done what he's done in the last couple of years here in Vancouver, someone's going to pay you. And you hit the nail on the head right there. The best 3 words in hockey right now when it comes to agents and players, it's cap going up.
Yep.
Right. Or you're going to hear it a lot. You're going to hear a lot of players that don't deserve or maybe shouldn't get paid what they do, getting paid what they do. And you're going to see a lot of players that are severely underpaid as well. But this is a time for guys like Kiefer Sherwood, who maybe if the cap wasn't going up and it stayed around what it was, wouldn't have that opportunity to make the type of money that he may now. And that's another thing that, these agents and these players are going to have conversations about. And the teams know that. The teams absolutely know that. But in the back of your mind, it's also like, how much does the player want to be here? How much does he like to fit in Vancouver? Does he want to have family here in Vancouver and grow and all of that with this team? Or do you want to go and get paid what you think you deserve? So I think that there's a lot of things that you look into it as an organization, and you don't want to overpay if you don't have to. But with that rising cap, like, guys are going to make some money here, and it's going to be interesting. Like, there's going to be money out there that might be too much for the Canucks that are going to be the Canucks willing to pay for a player. And then there's going to be money out there that's definitely not enough. So for Kiefer Sherwood, like I said I think that 4 times 4, I'm not reporting, I'm just throwing it out there and saying that, that's not bad. That's $16 million. Like that's a lot of money for a guy that, if you can get him at that cap, I think would be a really, really, really good number.
Anyone else you'd really like to point out, just highlighting individual performances here? I want to talk about Thatcher Demko, but anyone else before we get to the goalie? I think we should go forwards through the defense. We got to talk about Quinn Hughes. Obviously, Filip Hronek plays a role in that game as well. I'll finish with Demko. Is there anyone else you want to talk about from this weekend's games?
I just want to see what Victor Mancini that injury update is going to be there for the Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, was it late in the third period he left and didn't come back? Let's say in the second. Sorry, he came back.
Left in the second.
Yeah, and then he didn't come back. So you hope that he's okay. Obviously, he's a guy that they need on that back end. I'm not entirely sure if I'm sold on the P.O. Joseph experience for the Vancouver Canucks.
Hot take.
Yeah. It's a bold one. I think I said it after the first game with Jeff out in the post-game show. So
you did.
Yeah,
it was not good.
I'm not entirely sure, but look, I think that, he's a guy that every team has one of those types of players. You sit in the press box and you get in once every 10, 15 games, and then you try and, make something out of it. But I think that you hope that Mancini's okay. I haven't really heard anything, so you'll probably hear something tomorrow. But that was probably the only other player that I really want to talk about.
So the injury bug hitting the Canucks blue line. You just mentioned it. Victor Mancini leaving in the second period of that game. But Quinn Hughes, the big one. Quinn Hughes doesn't leave. Isn't in the lineup for that game, the second half of the back-to-back. Played a really strong game against Montreal. As much as we were talking about, oh my gosh, what a great game for Petey. Quietly, we've started to be like, what the hell's going on with Quinn Hughes? He's not looking like himself. Looks like himself against Montreal. And then he's hurt and he can't play the next night against Edmonton. You hearing anything? Do you know anything about this situation?
Haven't really heard anything. It's been pretty quiet. I'm not entirely sure. I think that they're going to keep this one quiet, obviously, when it comes to Quinn Hughes and what obviously is bothering him. But they said it was a lower body injury. Yeah,
lower body.
So, I mean, you hope it's nothing serious, right? When you look at it, obviously, this guy's the most important player in this franchise's one of the most important players in this franchise's history, but you definitely hope it's nothing serious. So we'll see. I mean, if he's out there for morning skate tomorrow, or if he's not, he won't get to go up against his old buddy JT Miller. I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit later too. But yeah, no, haven't heard too much on Quinn Hughes, and you just hope that he's okay. I'm not entirely sure if it's the one injury. I think that there's a couple things that are bothering him for sure.
It
looks like it.
Oh, for sure. Like he was,
Yeah.
we saw him taping his wrist at practice and stuff earlier in the year. For sure. But it kind of goes into a bigger conversation about that Montreal game that they didn't have Quinn Hughes. They looked pretty damn good in that game. Like it was a couple moments. It came down to a couple moments. Like Tyler Myers doesn't have, you know what? It might not all be on Myers. But both of those goals, he doesn't clear it out. That one's probably on Tyler Myers. But the stretch pass from Bouchard to Draisaitl, it just came down to a couple moments where the Canucks gave up goals. But I thought as a whole, it was a pretty solid team effort for the Canucks.
Yeah, defending, collectively as a unit. And I think that's one of the things that Adam Foote preaches, even when he was running the defense. It was, this is how we have to do it, with or without Quinn Hughes. And they were able to go out and do that. And I think that there's times where you look at Quinn Hughes, he's got his puck on his stick a lot, whether that's defensively or offensively. Like Quinn Hughes controls so much of the game. So much of the offense goes through Quinn Hughes. And I don't know, that's not a knock. He's the best player on the ice almost every single night when he's out there. So for him to be able to go and do that and have that impact on a game, and then you lose someone like that, and then it's like, okay, now we have to completely kind of change the way we play, and it's a little bit different now. And you saw guys that were able to step up and guys that make big moments and had some pretty big plays, and that's exactly what happened. Like the PK was bad on Saturday, but that's Quinn Hughes doesn't play that anyway, so that has nothing to do with him. But it's the other parts of the game where everyone else was good, and you look at even a game like last night. You mentioned the Bouchard stretch pass, but other than that, it was a solid game defensively for even both nights for that group.
Goaltenders, want to talk about it? Excuse me. Thatcher Demko, phenomenal against the Edmonton Oilers. He's been great all season long. Kevin Lankinen, not as great against the Montreal Canadiens. And we had someone in the chat here. This is not me saying this. This is at someone in the chat that said, I thought the Montreal loss was Lankinen looking bad. I don't think he looked bad, but the point I've been making in recent weeks is that you talk about limiting Thatcher Demko's starts, and that's easier said than done when you have one goalie who's going to play at a Vezina level, which it sure looks like Thatcher Demko's going to this year, and then you have one who isn't playing poorly, but can't mask defensive deficiencies that this team's going to have naturally throughout the year, especially when they're banged up. It's going to be harder to stick to that game plan of, okay, we're going to give Thatcher Demko this many starts and Kevin Lankinen this many starts when Demko's playing so much better. And like I've been saying for a while, this is not meant to be a knock on Kevin Lankinen. It is just the way the chips have fallen. Thatcher Demko is playing out of his mind. He's playing at a Vezina caliber level. He's going to finish the year as a top 3 goaltender in the league if he keeps this up. Top 2 probably. And then you have Kevin Lankinen, who's playing fine, would probably be like the best goalie on, I don't know, what would you say, like 16 of the teams in the league? Just throwing in a number out there.
They're current. I mean, look at the Oilers. You'd be there, but that's a championship team with Kevin Lankinen in net. Like,
exactly. So that's my point, is that Demko's just playing at such a level that it's going to become something that we continue to talk about. And I'm telling people to keep an eye on Kevin Lankinen and his starts.
Well, I also, and one of the things I think I didn't take into consideration is when looking at this season, it was the condensed schedule. And, before, I think that backup goalies knew like they would have to sit for a little bit before they got to start. You play once, you have 3 days off, you play another game, then you have a run of 3 games in 6 nights and all that. And, you don't get to have to ride your starter too much. But here, like the Canucks stretch of 7 and 11, that's a lot of hockey in a very short period of time. No practice time, very little time off the ice for goalies as well.
Yep.
So I think that the way the distribution and the plan, not just for the Vancouver Canucks, but for every team in the National Hockey League, like with their starters and their backups, is we can't kill our starters. Like we just can't. So now, even looking way ahead to like the deadline and things like that, like a backup goalie is going to be a hot commodity come playoff time, and or even sooner than that if you think you're a good team and you can't have a goalie that can't make a save. Look at St. Louis. Their backup goalie Halford can't even make a save, right? And that's the reason why they're near the bottom of the standings, because you can't. And Binnington's going to be on the Canadian Olympic team. Thatcher Demko is going to be on we'll see, but he probably should be on Team USA as Kevin Lankinen. Is he going to be on the Finnish team? So there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration, and I think the teams do know that as well. when you look and you make your decisions for goaltending. So you don't want to ride Thatcher Demko too much. They probably have an idea of what number that they want him at by the end of the season. But if Lankinen's playing well, like, you got to give the guy a break for at least a little bit, especially with all these starts and how fast and furious they come.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, wouldn't you? Like, you can't ride Demko that much, especially with his injury history. I know he's feeling good and he's playing out of his mind, and he probably wants to be in the net as much as he possibly can. But on the other side of that, I think he also knows in the back of his mind that, you know what, maybe I do need the night off. Maybe I can't put my body through hell as I used to, but maybe I can't do that anymore.
Of course, 100%, man. And that's the thing that I was.
The team's better in front of him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, this is the thing I was just going to bring up too, is it's like, it goes back to the conversation that we've been having since the offseason, that you get the best version of Thatcher Demko if he's healthy. And the way to do that is limiting his starts. And then, as we saw last year with Lankinen, at least what we thought heading into this year was, if you limit what Lankinen is able to do in terms of the number of starts, then you're going to get the best version of Kevin Lankinen as well, because he started to fall off toward the end of the year. But again, like at someone in the chat said, first period, Lankinen was flopping around, random shots and things. I'm not ripping him, but I don't think he's playing fine. He's just saying, I just think he needs to get back into form. And that's all I'm trying to say too, is I'm not trying to sound the alarm on Kevin Lankinen. I'm just saying that it's going to get tempting to play Thatcher Demko a ton if you're getting such a high level from Demko and then just kind of a average level from Lankinen. You need Lankinen playing at the level he was playing at last year at this time.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I also think that they know. I think that this management group and this coaching staff knows, as much as they've been through with Thatcher Demko, what's right and what's not right. And it's going to be tempting. You're right. It for sure is. But I think for where they think that they can be come February, March, and April, you got to maybe make some sacrifices in November, December, January. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there has to be a couple extra nights where Thatcher Demko isn't playing. But Kevin Lankinen needs to be at that level, like you just said. Like, he needs to be contract season Kevin Lankinen, where he got that $25 million. And, you know, he struggled early a little bit, and then obviously against the Montreal Canadiens, you know, things fell apart for him in the third period of that hockey game, and that's where it got away. And then you get Thatcher Demko against the Edmonton Oilers, and it's a brick wall, literally. Like, I'm standing in front of it, like, right now. But that's exactly what he is.
I love it. Okay. Going through my notes, I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Oh, power play. I want to talk power play. Okay. All right. This is my big thing on the power play. When Quinn Hughes runs the power play, or when he's on the power play, it runs through Quinn Hughes and he's shooting. He's trying to do all sorts of things. When Philip Hronek's on the power play, he's just trying to pass the puck to Petey. Like, it was so funny last night how badly Philip Hronek just wanted to get the puck to Elias Pettersson. And hey, it worked. Like, it worked out. Are you buying Philip Hronek, power play one quarterback? Are you liking what you're seeing? Because it's hard to disagree with last night, how that went. But man, I really liked just trying to get the puck to Petey. It seemed to work really well.
Yeah. And Philip Hronek's got an absolute cannon of a shot too. When he does hit it, like, it goes. I mean, we all know Quinn Hughes and his power of shooting the puck, but Philip Hronek can also shoot it too. So it gives you a different look as well. But yeah, I mean, if your plan is to feed Petey on the power play, and that is the game plan, and what seems to be working, why not just have Philip Hronek there? Quinn Hughes obviously gives him a completely different dynamic. He can skate around anybody in the National Hockey League. But when that happens, a lot of the Canucks are just standing and watching. Like, and it's no fault of his own. Like, he's the best skater on the ice, but they're a lot more stagnant when Quinn Hughes is out there doing it. Philip Hronek, at least the puck's moving left, right, and center. There's a little bit of movement. And, you know, Petey knows he's going to get open for that one-timer. He's got to find himself in space. Yeah. And because of that, you know, defenses have to figure out kind of the way that they play and the way that they defend it. So I don't mind it. We'll see how long it's going to last. If and when Quinn Hughes does come back, it's going to be QB1 for Quinn Hughes. But I think that right now in the short, Philip Hronek is the right guy for the job.
Our poll question, is Quinn Hughes the problem with the Vancouver Canucks?
No, it's not.
No, it's not our poll question.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it right now.
Here we go. We already got it. Bryce in the chat said the Canucks played pretty well with Hughes out of the lineup. Say they traded Hughes to Jersey for Nemec, Mercer, and 2 firsts. The Quinn Hughes trade packages were starting when he was struggling. Now that he's out of the lineup and clearly they don't need him, they're going to come fast and furious. All right. Do you want to get to your stat of the day, Irf?
We can get to the stat of the day. Yes.
Do you have the ad read, or would you like me to do it? Because I forgot to send it to you, I think.
I don't have the ad read. You can
No
do
problem.
it.
That is my
Thanks,
fault.
buddy.
Yeah, that's my fault.
We'll make sure the bills get paid. Don't worry.
Yeah. Harm likes to do his he loves to do his ad read. Like, he's been segueing to it perfectly. Like, mid conversation, he'll be like, "This is a great time for the stat of the day, brought to you by Uber Eats." Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. All right, Irf, take us through it. Stat of the day.
Elias Pettersson took a career high 29 faceoffs on Sunday. Career high 29 faceoffs on Sunday. He's taken the third most faceoffs of any player this season. Joel Eriksson-Ek, Minnesota. Nathan McKinnon, Colorado. And Elias Pettersson, third. So Eriksson-Ek with 217, McKinnon 215, and Elias Pettersson with 203. So the Canucks are obviously depending on Elias Pettersson in the faceoff circle. That just shows, the depth of the center ice position in the National Hockey League. But I think that when you look at it, third most faceoffs, like, that is a lot. 29 career high, like that is very, very high. Sun Mites, he got smoked, like when he did the Pittsburgh game against Sidney Crosby. And then now you look at it, a game the other night where he was 55% in the dot against guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
I love it. That's a great stat. Now, this is a question I want to ask you. Canucks, faceoffs. Reichel won some faceoffs as well. They were great in the dot last night against Edmonton, and this was becoming a problem. This was going to become a serious talking point of how much the Canucks are struggling in the faceoff. What do you think about the faceoffs as a whole for this team?
Well, you don't start with the puck. If you don't start with the puck, good things can't happen. And I think that they realized that in a big way against that Pittsburgh game. That Pittsburgh game, they got smoked. Elias Pettersson, after the game, had said that it's on me. It starts with faceoffs. If we don't have the puck, we can't win hockey games. And it's true. Credit to them for working on it. And you're only going to get better. I mean, the more practice you put in, the more time you put in, and work on your craft, you're only going to get better. But on a night where you're going up against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and you don't get worked, and you are 55% in the circle as Elias Pettersson was, good things generally are going to happen. And obviously they won the hockey game. So it's a thing that we're going to have to monitor. We monitored it very early to start the season, and they weren't doing well. And now you hope things can kind of change in the right direction. I don't think they're going to be a team that, is leading the league in faceoff percentage by the time it's all said and done. I just don't, because there's not two top dogs that they have. The Canucks don't have two very strong centers that can go and do that every single night. Aatu Ratu is their best faceoff guy, and he's playing 10 minutes a night, right? And he's getting out for key defensive draws and things like that. But if you get another guy that's in that top six, somehow go and acquire it, and he's a half decent faceoff guy, then you can maybe start to see that number change a little bit. But for Elias Pettersson, it's keep doing what you're doing, keep your head down, keep grinding, and those faceoff wins will keep coming.
Everybody's just hoping this can be something for PD to build off of, right? Like, that was the conversation we were having earlier in the year, but now it's actually translating to points. Like, he's been fine this year. Like, we were saying when he was not putting up points at the real start of the season, we were talking like, oh, well, at least he looks way better than he did last year, even if the points aren't there yet. Now the points are starting to come. It's exactly what you want to see for Elias Pettersson. I just want to mention this as well. The Let's Go PD chants happening. That's the first time, I think, at least, that we've heard the Let's Go PD chants be totally organic and not like, okay, maybe if we chant for this guy, he'll start to play well. First time I heard it of like, oh, he's doing things that star players do. Let's cheer for our star player. Haven't heard that in a while at Rogers Arena. So I just wanted to mention that as well. It was a fun night, Sunday night at Rogers Arena for Elias Pettersson and the Canucks.
Yeah, and it should be. Like, I think that if your fans are chanting your name, it's for good reason. You're doing something good. Kiefer Sherwood's name is being chanted. Canucks fans are chanting everybody's name when you're winning. It's when you're losing that your name doesn't get chanted and things start to go really bad and you don't like it.
You don't like those chants.
No, you don't like those chants. You don't like the boos. You don't like people leaving the building early. You don't like jerseys getting thrown off on the ice. You don't like any of that stuff. So no one does. I mean, no job likes getting booed or anything like that. I mean, you look at other teams around National Hockey, like the Buffalo Sabres had a jersey thrown on their ice recently. I think we saw, and obviously they've got their issues. But for the Vancouver Canucks, this fan base is very passionate about its team. They love when they're doing well. I mean, just look at our YouTube chat. I mean, whether on any given night, on one night you love certain players on this team, and the next night it's trade them and get them out of town. But it is a passionate fan base, and they will support this team, ride or die, for sure.
All right. Speaking of jerseys getting thrown on the ice, JT Miller and the Rangers in town tomorrow night. The Rangers are off to a bad start to their season. They are dead last in the Eastern Conference, well, at least tied with the Bruins. But they have 3 wins on the season. They have lost 3 straight. I think they have 1 win in their last 7 games last time I checked. And one of those was a loss to the San Jose Sharks, 6-5 in overtime, which is crazy when you think about it. Let me pull up the Rangers games here. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So they're just coming off a 5-1 loss against the Calgary Flames. So they should be motivated to really bring their A game to Vancouver. 6-5 loss at home to the San Jose Sharks. Then it was lost to the Minnesota Wild. I'm not going to go through the scores of each game, but they've lost low scoring games. They've lost high scoring games, and their only wins have come against the Buffalo Sabres and the Pittsburgh Penguins on the 9th and 11th of October.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the 18th of the month, 18th of October in Montreal, they got a win as well by a final score of 4-3. It's been a bad start to the season for the Rangers is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, and what's crazy about this trip for the Rangers? Jeff made a great point that they don't play any back-to-back games on this trip, whereas most teams come in and you're playing on back-to-back at least one of the trips through Western Canada and now Seattle, I guess. But yeah, the Rangers don't. They have a day off today, and they are practicing, obviously, morning skate tomorrow. JT Miller will meet the media. But yeah, they just haven't had a good start by anybody. That team obviously has high expectations. Like, you don't bring in a Mike Sullivan to not win or like to not go deep in the playoffs. Like, Mike Sullivan's not part of a rebuild. Mike Sullivan's not part of a retool. Mike Sullivan is brought in to go and try and win you a Stanley Cup. And this Rangers team is currently assembled. I don't think it's early. JT Miller obviously saying all the right things. We need to calm down, kind of taking a page from Aaron Rodgers' book, RELAX, saying that everyone just needs to chill. They're going to find their game. But you get smoked by Calgary the other night.
Yeah.
And that game was not good at all in any way, shape, or form for the Rangers. And you have a Canuck team now that you're playing against on Tuesday. It feels pretty good about themselves after a game against the Edmonton Oilers. It should be a fun night.
Should be a really good game, really fun night. Are you on Rinkwide tomorrow?
I will be on Rinkwide, yes.
All right, Rinkwide, you can go catch Irf's thoughts on tomorrow's game. It's going to be a big one. Oh, nice. Pointing at the hat. I like it. It's going to be a fun game, obviously. Storylines galore. JT Miller's time as the Canuck came to a pretty abrupt ending. So, yeah.
What do
you pay attention, and we'll be talking about it more tomorrow.
What's the reception?
Oh, 100% he gets cheered. Come on.
Yeah. Oh no, I for sure. I would.
Oh, sorry. What do you mean?
No. The reception from JT Miller of JT Miller once he gets his video tribute, it'll be loud and
yeah. My bigger question, like, they're gonna cheer. Does JT Miller ignore them? Like, does he look at the video tribute? That's my actual question. Does he watch the video tribute? Does he actually skate around, thank the fans, or does he just look straight ahead?
I don't know. I think he's gonna look. I think he's gonna acknowledge the fan base. I think he's going to.
I think he'll do it at morning skate. I think he'll be all class at morning skate. You're not like, if people are like, oh, I wonder if he's gonna say anything bad about Petey. Like, that's not how JT Miller operates when the cameras are on. He is going to absolutely be all class when he's asked questions about his time with the Canucks. Hell, he was all class even when it came to an end last year when he was asked about the Canucks, right? Like, and obviously it wasn't the ending that anyone imagined for his time in Vancouver, but he was still all class. So you're gonna hear that. You're gonna see that tomorrow. I just don't know if he'll give a crap in game. Like, he's very.
No, I mean, he might. I think he'll acknowledge the fans because that's his chance to acknowledge the fans. You can do it through the media as much as you want.
Yep, sure.
But they're gonna come. They're gonna cheer for you, and you're gonna get a video tribute.
It'll be a JT Miller chant right after. I think that'll be what he can't ignore is the JT Miller chant. As much as he liked ignoring that chant when he was here, he's not going to be able to ignore it tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, obviously his team is desperate for a win, so he might just be full JT Miller mode too as well.
We'll see. We'll see.
But I think that I was talking to someone about this as well. Like if JT Miller was a Vancouver Canuck for the entirety of his career, like probably goes down as the second best center after Henrik. I mean, depending on what Elias Pettersson does.
Maybe. That's a crazy. Yeah. I mean,
if you just go look at his numbers.
Yeah, we did our ranking of the top 50 Canucks of all time this past summer at Canucks Army. Miller was 3 or 4 spots ahead of Pettersson. And like no one was saying like, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy." Especially given the context of what Pettersson's last season and a half looked like. I'm not saying this to
have a conversation about those two. I'm just saying in general, like I think that he might be, if he would have stayed here, the second best after Henrik. I mean, obviously depending on whatever Elias Pettersson does in his career, but I think that there's definitely an argument that can be made for that.
Yeah. Wow. I haven't thought about it. Now you're giving me a little existential crisis here because I think you're right. What about Trevor Linden? Like that'd be who I come to and say second best. But you're proposing a world where JT stays the whole time.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's the Canuck. Like if you can continue
no,
not now. Not that he's gone.
I know.
If he would have been a Canuck, if he didn't get traded.
If he was still a Canuck, does JT ever get them to Game 7 of Stanley Cup Final? That's my question for you. I don't think the answer is yes.
I think there's a chance. I think having a guy like him on your team, you have a chance on more nights than not.
I would need to see in this alternate universe what the results of JT being a Canuck for life is. It's a conversation, but I don't think it's a slam dunk. I have Trevor Linden is hard to beat is what I'm trying to get at.
Yep, I agree. I just think that JT's definitely would be up there, if not 2.
Roland in the chat said JT's second highest points per game after Bure.
Yeah.
I'll jump in because I remember when JT got traded, I worked with Robert, the Canucks Army social media guy. We put together a little graphic, like Miller and Bure's Canucks tenures, with the exception of Bure going to Game 7 of a Stanley Cup Final. But that aside, their numbers are almost identical, and it's pretty crazy when you actually look. Their points per game, very close. Like games played, power play goals, like everything is comparable between those two guys with their time in Vancouver, which is pretty shocking because people think back to Bure and like he was the best Canuck who has ever played for this team. And, you know, JT Miller was really good, and we know he was really good, but also like, did it feel like JT Miller was a future Hall of Famer during his time with the Canucks? No, of course not. So I think there's definitely a debate to be had here.
I love it. Irf, I want to ask you this. We're going to break this down tomorrow as well. It's not a preview of tomorrow's game. We're going to do that tomorrow. But Petey, really liking those matchup roles. Really liking the Suzuki line. Really liking the McDavid line. He go right up against JT Miller tomorrow?
Yeah, and you should. If you want your best, if you want to be the best player on the team, you got to go against the other team's best players, right? Now, whether JT Miller ends up playing in that, whether if that's the matchup that they give him, that Adam Foote decides that is going to be that matchup for Elias Pettersson, then by all means, he's not scared of him.
No,
go at him. Like your team's playing well, you should be feeling good about your game.
Oh, yeah.
There's all the other stuff is going to be driven by people that talk about it.
You know you're not going to get much.
It's over. Like I got traded. Like it is done. Doesn't exist to you in your life anymore. Like it's done. It's fun for us to talk about it because of everything that happened and how public it got. But in all reality, JT Miller's team needs a win. The Canucks, by all accounts, haven't played their best hockey. They're kind of turning the corner a little bit now, and they want to win. So it should be a very good hockey game, hopefully.
I think it will be. I'm excited for tomorrow's game. Okay. Let's get to anyone else, which is brought to you by Pacific Toyota Dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. Drive up 72 kilometers in the battery alone, then seamlessly transition from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. There's no sacrifices when it comes to horsepower style with its sleek, low, and wide exterior and sophisticated interior. It's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use. Plug in to recharge at home or at one of the over 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone. Now you can lease a 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down, and it includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. All right, couple names brought up on Hockey Night in Canada. Well, I shouldn't say a couple on Hockey Night in Canada. One brought up on Hockey Night in Canada. A name we've talked about a lot, it feels like, and that is Pavel Zacha. He of the Boston Bruins. Elliot Friedman reporting that not only are the Canucks and Bruins still talking about Zacha, that it went back to the summer, but that the Canucks are not on Pavel Zacha's no trade list.
I think Pavel Zacha is very well liked in Boston. I think his teammates, namely David Pastrnak, really like Pavel Zacha. I'm not entirely sure if Zacha is the guy that they're going to trade. I think it's Middlestat. I think that Middlestat's the one that they're actively trying to move right now. If you're the Boston Bruins. Now, I'm not saying that Pavel Zacha won't get traded and there hasn't been a link here to Vancouver. I just think that from what I know, from what I've heard over the last little bit, is that he's very well liked in Boston. And Middlestat is the player that, they're actively trying to move right now. I don't know if the Middlestat is a fit here in Vancouver. I'm just talking about in general, but obviously Elliot talking about it on Hockey Night in Canada, saying that, there maybe have been a conversation or two or whatever it has been between the Canucks and the Boston Bruins. I'm just not sure how far it goes when it comes to Pavel Zacha, just by judging with the relationship he has with some players there in Boston.
So you talk about that, and that aside, even though it adds to what I'm about to say, is the Bruins don't have to trade Pavel Zacha.
No.
Like, there is no pressure here. It's not like he's a UFA waiting to get his ticket out of Boston next year. It's like you said, he's well liked. He likes the Bruins by all accounts. This is not a trade the Bruins have to make. And when that's the case, when we talk about risk for the Canucks, if you're going to actually be able to pry a guy, like you just said, who is well liked in Boston, if you're actually going to be able to pry that guy out of Boston, it's going to take a lot. Like, you're going to have to overpay for him. So when we talk about all these names, we talk about risk. Okay, well, the risk goes up if you're trading a first-round pick plus a blue-chip prospect that you really don't want to give up. Like, the risk goes up significantly. And I think it's that fine line of, okay, this is going to help us save the season because we need to compete this year, but it's also going to hamstring us down the road. Put it this way. I saw this somewhere. I can't remember who said this, but I really liked it. Would you want the Canucks to trade Braden Coots right now? The answer is probably no. Well, would you want them to trade what could become a Braden Coots of next year? The answer should probably also be no, without us even talking about what that 2026 pick actually represents, even if it's lottery protected and all sorts of stuff like that, like, which we've had that conversation. Overpaying for Zacha isn't something that I think this team should be doing.
No, I 100% agree. I don't think they should overpay for Zacha. I don't think they should overpay for Alex Wenberg. I don't think you should overpay for Casey Middlestat. I don't think they should overpay for any of those guys for Tommy Novak. Like, I just don't think that they should overpay. I think right now you see what you have with Elias Pettersson and Lucas Reichel. There's a lot of upside that to be had in Lucas Reichel, and I think that if that line can gain some chemistry, like we saw in the very short sample size in the last couple games here, then you might have something. I don't think the Canucks are in any sort of rush to make something happen here right now, imminently. I'm not entirely sure if the Boston Bruins are in a rush to trade a guy like Pavel Zacha. And I think that, Boston's going to try and turn things around itself. Yep. If they want to be competitive this season, what are they, 4-6 right now? Through 10 games, the bottom of the division, they're going to need Pavel Zacha, to try and turn it around. And I think that if you're the Canucks, what are you giving up? And it's going to be an overpay because teams have you over a barrel right now. Like, they know where your need is and what you want. So again, I 100% agree with you. I wouldn't overpay for any of these big guys if you don't have to right now.
And Middlestat, I know you were mentioning Middlestat's kind of the guy
doesn't do anything for them.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't do anything for them.
It goes back to that conversation we were having about risk. Well, Middlestat's going to cost more than Lucas Reichel, and I'd argue there's not even as much upside. Your floor is higher with Casey Middlestat. Like, Casey Middlestat's floor, when you're trading for him, he is a better player than Lucas Reichel was when he was on the Chicago Blackhawks. That's a fact. So your floor is higher for sure. but it's going to cost you more. And I don't think he's really a fit. We had this conversation with Pete Blackburn last week as well. Like, what is Casey Middlestat right now? And I don't think he's someone that really is going to help the Canucks at this juncture. So I'm with you. Like, it's a stand pat time for the Canucks. Like, it is. You've got all these injuries. I don't think you trade your way out of these problems. I think you really like what happened against the Edmonton Oilers. And again, someone in the chat, Mark Rivera, 88 in the chat, said, do you guys see Reichel as a center moving forward? The talking point from the team was, well, we're going to give it a shot. And so far it's been good. Like, so far it's been good. I was talking about how great that second line looked last night, creating offensively. Evander Kane had his best game as a Canuck, I think, against the Oilers on Sunday night. So you're hoping he can build off that. What does this team look like if you've got the version of Kane that you were hoping for when you made the trade? What does that look like? Brock Besser's really looked good this season as well. So if you have a second line and Lucas Reichel is, helping, then yeah, absolutely, he's a center, and you don't need to go trade for one, especially right now.
Let's have this conversation at American Thanksgiving at the end of November.
Exactly.
Let's have this exact conversation. The Canucks are a 500 hockey team through 10 games. Like, it's 10 games. And we all know that it is a glaring need that they would like a center, but let's have a conversation right around American Thanksgiving and see where they are. And then you really know what type of team you have, I think, and what you really think you need to work on. Maybe it's another defenseman. Maybe someone goes down with injury. Maybe a forward gets hurt. Like, there's all sorts of things that can happen in different variables. And yes, the center right now has been the topic of discussion, as it has been since we talked about it last season when JT Miller was traded. Right? I think that obviously is a conversation that is an easy one to have. But let's see where they are through 15, 20, 25 games, right? There's 72 games left in the National Hockey League season, and rushing to overpay for a guy like Pavel Zacha or Casey Middlestat isn't going to solve, a lot of problems, whether it's right now or whether it's in your long-term future.
100% agree. Okay. Did we have any? Oh yeah, Nazem Kadri. Let's talk about this as well. We saw the report today. Nazem Kadri, the Canucks, according to Rick Dhaliwal, Nazem Kadri does not have the Canucks on his no trade list. Would the Canucks ever be able to actually trade for him? That's another conversation. Do the Flames want to trade him in division? I'm going to guess not, but what say you about this?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if the Flames want to trade him in the division. And then when you go and look at it from a Nazem Kadri perspective, he probably wants a chance at winning in the next couple years of his contract. That he's got 3 more years after this season at $7 million a season. He probably wants to win. And do the Vancouver Canucks fit that? Do they have the blueprint for him to go and come to a team and be like, okay, I'm going to have a chance for at least one more kick at this or 2? I'm not entirely sure if Kadri does that here in Vancouver. I don't think it does. I think the Leafs make a lot of sense for a guy like Nazem Kadri.
Familiarity.
I think we did DFO Live this morning with Carter Hutton, and he said that I don't know how they would ever do it, but Florida makes a lot of sense just because their window and what they can do. And like, I just think you have to look at it like that. Like, he's another guy that's going to go give a team bottom 6 minutes in the playoffs because you probably already have your top 2 centers and your window is wide open. I just don't know how he fits in here with his age, his contract, and where the Canucks are currently at. It's a nice thought to maybe think about it, and it could be good, and maybe look good in a Canuck uniform, but I just don't know how much it actually economically helps the Vancouver Canucks and what it does for them on the ice to get really, really that much better.
Yeah, people in the chat unanimously agree, don't go get Kadri. This is crazy. Like, no, I can't see one person that says they want Nazem Kadri on this team. The chat's finally agreed. This has never happened. Okay. Well, I don't think we need to talk about it much more than that. He's 35. He's signed till he's 39, $7 million. Yeah, I agree with you, Irf. Again, it's great that that the Canucks aren't on his no trade list, but yeah, I don't see that one being a solution for the Canucks. Also, it's like you just said, and like we were just talking about, I don't think we have to keep this conversation going of like, oh, who should they trade for right now? Maybe you could trade for him in a month or 2, but I would not look at this team right now and say, okay, you got to go make a trade for a center. Like, I like the Lucas Reichel one. It's a fine stopgap. It's a short-term check on. Like, you can check what your team really is by having Lucas Reichel on it. Like, he's an upgrade on every other center that they had, and that's a positive for them.
Yeah, and like, where's your window? Like that's what we always say. I mean, we talked about this before we came on. Your window is as long as Thatcher Demko's contract is, and however long Quinn Hughes' contract is right now. But other than that, like, Braden Coots is your future at that position. You have Elias Pettersson, and you're going to have Braden Coots at some point. And then if Lucas Reichel can turn into a player, okay, then you know what? You might have a few centers there and kind of see what happens after that. But as far as it goes right now, I don't think the Canucks should be in any rush to overpay for someone.
100%.
We're through 10 games. Like, the sky's fallen already once this season. It's going to continue to fall after every wins and losses. That's just how it goes, like this, up and down. But I don't think that, looking at it from a big picture perspective, they need to go and rush and do anything right now, especially with what's available or what's being reported that's available.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our Bet365 bet of the day. Actually, before that, anything you wanted to get in before we wrap up here?
I'm good.
Beautiful.
I'm good. Right. Rink wide tomorrow night. Should be fun.
Love it. All right. Bet365 bet of the day. Irf, do you like this pick? I'm a money line guy. I like picking the money lines, and I usually like picking underdogs. Tonight, I am taking the Pittsburgh Penguins at minus 105 odds against the St. Louis Blues. And the Penguins are at home, so I think that's also worth mentioning. And like we were talking about earlier, Joel Hofer in net for the St. Louis Blues.
Can't make a save.
He has struggled this season. So I'm taking the underdog Pittsburgh Penguins money line minus 105 odds. I like that bet. You can get that at Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get it on the game. Use the code NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 plus to play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. All right, Irf, this was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And the crazy thing about the Pittsburgh Penguins, too, is everyone wrote them off and were like, they're going to be so bad, they're going to be sellers. And Sidney Crosby's like, I'm still him.
Exactly.
Just stop it. Stop it right now. Second in their division. They're playing well. They're getting good goaltending.
Yeah, and not to mention that Malkin line, right? With Mantha and Brazeau, like, they're so heavy on the forecheck, and that was evident right away. Like, they took it to the Rangers, that line.
It's a big boy line,
of the season. And now, like, you just put all that size on one line and see what happens, and it's worked out. And now, it's not all about size. Like, let's not forget Evgeny Malkin is Evgeny Malkin. He's got more than just size on his side. And
but Brazeau's a monster.
Yeah, I'm stunned at what Brazeau's been able to do.
Yeah.
This year. And not to mention Mantha. Like, Mantha, again, a guy who didn't get to play, right? Signs with Calgary, doesn't really get to play because of an injury. Has to take a show-me deal, and what better place to do it than Evgeny Malkin's line? That's showing up really well for them so far.
Someone asked about baseball MLB expansion to Vancouver.
Oh, yeah, Big Hug Hockey. Rob Manfred talked to Blair and Barker about MLB expansion to Vancouver. Thoughts on this? Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. I would be a Vancouver fan. I don't know if it's realistic. Like, where are you going to put a stadium? It would be the Peony Fairgrounds, I guess. Like, you'd have to do something by Empire Field. It'd be the nicest stadium in all of the league, with the North Shore Mountains in the background. 100% nice stadium in the league. It'd be right up there. I think Pittsburgh has the nicest backdrop as it stands.
Pittsburgh's nice. San Francisco's nice.
Oh yeah, San Francisco with the Bay. Yeah. T-Mobile Park has like train tracks. The stadium itself is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I don't look at T-Mobile Park and say, "Oh my gosh," when I look over, it's so beautiful. But yeah, like, I don't know. People, and like, someone in the chat even said, "Oh, you can only have a baseball team if it's downtown." You're not putting a baseball stadium downtown. Like, that's not happening. That can't happen. Where are you going to put that? You can't do it.
No, it's just not happening.
Is there any room kind of up like north of Waterfront, down by where the like docks are, C-Bus terminal? Fit something down there. I remember
there's no room for a practice facility downtown. Like, they're not putting a baseball stadium in downtown. What's the expansion? Is it an expansion team or is it a relocation team? Like, who's the owner that's coming in and bringing a team?
Yeah, exactly. Because like, someone suggested like, oh, Rogers will buy another team. No, they won't.
No,
they're more than happy with their investment. You want to do a fun thing about investments? Go look at what Rogers paid for the Blue Jays when they first bought them, and go look at what the Blue Jays are worth now.
And go look at how exactly, and then go look at to see on another one on that is how much they're paying Vladdy. Like, your ROI is pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to be just fine.
And to Irf's point, like, Rob Manfred can easily say, "Oh yeah, Vancouver's a great city. It'd be awesome to have another team in Canada, but let's be real here. Like, who is going to have the money to build a stadium and pay the probably $3 billion expansion fee to put a team in Vancouver? It's not going to happen.
If you think it's expensive to run the Canucks, go look what the Canucks are worth and what the expansion cost is, what they're asking for expansion teams.
Yeah, it's I mean, the economics of sports is always very interesting, and it always has been to me. But yeah, like baseball, and I don't think it works. I don't think Vancouver's a city that people are gonna show up to 1:00 games once a week in the afternoon.
I would not be doing this show. I would 100%
sick. I'm working more days than if Vancouver gets a team.
Absolutely. I will 100% partially retire just so I can go enjoy.
I think if anyone gets it, it's going to be Montreal. Like, they're going to go back there.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you watched this documentary?
I haven't watched it on the list. I haven't watched it yet.
Is it out yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta watch this. I might go watch it today. We'll see. Yeah, because I don't know the whole story behind the Montreal Expos.
Yeah, I think if it goes anywhere, it's going to go there. You're not putting another one in Ontario. No chance.
No. Maybe
you're not going to Alberta.
No. Sorry, if we're just talking Canada, it's Vancouver or Montreal. Yeah, and it's probably Montreal.
Yeah, it's
but I don't think it's Montreal, and I also don't think it's I don't think they're going to get another expansion team.
Rob Manfred knows what he's doing. He's got a Canadian team in the final of the World Series, and he's just like, all right, let's schmooze. Yeah, exactly.
Become baseball fans. You should learn about what we're doing out here because we might be coming to your city.
Yeah, exactly.
RE45 says it's going to Saskatoon.
In reality,
Saskatoon to cover the Blades there once. Great city.
In reality, it's Portland and Charlotte, or Portland and Nashville, one of those two southern East U.S. cities, and then they want Portland because they don't want Seattle as an outpost. Now, Vancouver could work in that, but I think they're going to Portland before they're going to Vancouver.
Well, I think, and then you look at it from other teams' perspective. I think NHL is fine right now, but then basketball, it's going to be Vegas and Seattle at some point. So like everyone's kind of going somewhere, but it would be interesting to me. Nashville seems with like Vanderbilt and that connection there with their baseball program and all that. Like Nashville seems like it would make a lot of sense. Portland's wild because it rains there a lot.
You need a retractable roof.
Yeah, like you'd have to have a retractable roof. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be Portland. Personally, I just don't. I don't think they're gonna do Portland. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. All right. Little baseball conversation on today's show. Oh, I did money line. Yeah, I did Penguins money line. I should have done World Series, but that's okay. On my World Series bets have all been hitting. That's why I say that. I correctly picked Jay's money line. Yeah, I'm on it with the World Series. I don't know about tonight's game though. Going to be a good one. Max Scherzer on the bump for the.
It's going to be good. Yep,
it's going to be a great game. Okay, well we'll wrap it up there. For my co-host Irfaan Gaffar and our technical producer Jacob Bazar, my name is Dave Bujelli. Thanks so much for the episode of Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.